Here's why you play Phoveus, the Chains of Sin in the EXP lane. First off, he possesses exceptional anti-dash capabilities, making him a nightmare for heroes that rely on mobility. Phoveus also has incredible sustain in fights due to his shield and healing from his passive and ultimate, which allows him to stay alive during long engagement. He excels in team fights thanks to his area of effect crowd control and ability to punish enemies who blink or dash. However, Phoveus has limited mobility himself and relies heavily on enemies' actions to maximize his potential, meaning he can struggle against teams with few mobility skills, although after his revamp, he is much less reliant on the enemy, which is an amazing addition in my opinion. Phoveus' passive, Demonic Force, enhances his next basic attack, allowing him to charge at the enemy, knock them back, deal magic damage based on their max HP, and gain a shield based on his own max HP. The cooldown of this effect decreases when an enemy is near Phoveus, blink or dash, and it also reduces the cooldown of his other abilities. This passive makes Phoveus a great counter to highly mobile heroes as it allows him to continually apply pressure in fights. Phoveus' first skill, Demonic Impact, causes him to slam his monolith into the ground, dealing area of effect damage and slowing enemies' hits. If the skill hits an enemy, an Asterisk Eye is left behind, which explodes after a short delay to deal additional damage. Phoveus' second skill, Dark Wave, releases a shockwave of demonic energy in a straight line, knocking enemies into the air and dragging them along with the wave. This provides strong crowd control and allows Phoveus to disrupt enemy formations, setting them up for further punishments from his other abilities. Phoveus' ultimate, Infernal Pursuit, allows him to leap at a marked enemy and smash down with his monolith, dealing damage to the target and nearby enemies while recovering HP based on his lost health. The more marks he applies during a fight, the more he can use his ultimate to continuously chase and eliminate enemies. This ability shines in team fights, especially against heroes that rely on dashes, as it gives Phoveus immense mobility and sustain. In team fights, Phoveus should use his enhanced basic attack from his passive to charge at an enemy, knocking them back and applying a mark. Immediately follow up with his ultimate to leap at the marked enemy. Next, use his first skill to deal damage and slow, then the second skill to drag enemies, allowing you to mark and reposition them. After using the second skill, you can use your ultimate again to chase down enemies or finish them off. This constant cycle of crowd control and burst damage makes Phoveus a threat in prolonged fights. Moving on to builds, I usually go Warrior Boots, War Axe, Brute Force Chestplate, Queen's Wings, Athena's Shield, and Immortality. This is a very defensive build and you can opt for a couple of offensive items if you want to. These are the emblems that go along this build. For Phoveus, Flicker is a great option to give him extra mobility, allowing him to reposition or engage fights when his enemies aren't using dashes. Vengeance is another strong choice to increase his survivability in extended fights by reflecting damage and healing him. Phoveus excels against mobile heroes like Fanny, Lancelot, or Harith who rely on dashes to maneuver in fight. He can easily punish them with his passive and ultimate. However, Phoveus struggles against poke-heavy heroes such as Kimi or Farsa who can kite him from a distance without triggering his abilities. You should upgrade skill 1 at level 1 and prioritize upgrading skill 1 with skill 2 as backup. Upgrade the ultimate whenever it is available. When playing Phoveus, it's crucial to keep an eye on enemy heroes that rely on dashes. Use your passive to capitalize on their mobility and remember to keep applying pressure with your ultimate whenever they blink or dash near you. Always position yourself near the center of fights but avoid overextending, as Phoveus relies on enemies coming to him to trigger his abilities. Use your first and second skills to control enemy movement and create opportunities for your team to follow up. Timing is key with Phoveus. Don't waste your ultimate too early. Instead, wait until you can chain it together for maximum impact. His sustain in fights comes from his shields and healing, so prioritize items that enhance his durability, allowing you to stay in fights longer and deal consistent damage over time.